All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, the NBA playoffs are here, and it is set to be a war of attrition in the Western Conference in order to get to the NBA Finals, as there is a slew of teams out there that have a legit shot to get to the finals. You look at Utah, who won 52 games in this shortened regular season. Phoenix right behind them with the 2 seed. The Denver Nuggets at number 3. The Los Angeles Clippers at 4. The Dallas Mavericks at 5. The Portland Trail Blazers at 6. And then you have the 4 teams that are in the play-in tournament. You have the Los Angeles Lakers, the defending NBA champions, at 7. The Golden State Warriors at 8. The Memphis Grizzlies at 9, and then the San Antonio Spurs at number 10. And you look at all of these teams, and I mean, first and foremost, Utah finished with the best record, but the thing is, a lot of people are really not talking about them. And you look at the way that Utah has played all season under head coach Quinn Snyder, which is a tremendous credit to what he's been able to do. Ball movement has been key for the Jazz. And because of that, that's why 6 players are averaging in double figures, led by Donovan Mitchell. Now, I know that Donovan Mitchell did miss some time coming down the stretch, but he should be ready to go for the Jazz in this postseason. Of course, they have the big guy in the middle and Rudy Gobert. And of course, you really don't think of Rudy Gobert as a scoring option. He's more of a defensive presence as well as sweeping the boards when it comes to rebounds. But it's going to be all about everybody stepping up and, more importantly, keep playing the way that they've been playing so far in order for them to do what they expect to do, which as far as surviving this Western Conference. The Phoenix Suns at number 2. You look at the Suns, and the first thing you ask yourself, are the Suns ready to seize the moment? First playoff appearance since 2010. You can see how important it was for this team to go out there and get Chris Paul at point guard. He has really shored things up and given them a floor general. Of course, Monty Williams is the head coach. And now this is going to be the time for young players such as Devin Booker to step up and show what they're really made of. I mean, we know that Devin Booker can score with anybody in the NBA. Now it is an opportunity for him to be on that grand stage, be on that playoff stage, and show what he can do. People will keep an eye on you for what you do in the regular season, but when the postseason rolls around, that's where legends are made. So we have to see if Devin Booker is going to be able to step up his game to help the Suns advance. You look at the Denver Nuggets, and one of the biggest things is, yes, Nikola Jokic is more than likely going to be the NBA's MVP this season, but will this team be able to step up with the loss of Jamal Murray at point guard? That was a huge blow for the Nuggets. They were cruising, and a lot of people felt that they had what it took to get to the NBA Finals with Murray. We remember the Nuggets really showing up last year in the NBA's playoff bubble. They went out there and did their thing before bowing out to the Los Angeles Lakers in the Western Conference Finals in a very tightly contended 5-game series. But you look at it, Nikola Jokic is going to get his numbers. This guy is basically or nearly averaging a triple-double rather this season, which is phenomenal for a big man. He's very skilled at the offensive end of the floor. We have seen the emergence of Michael Porter Jr. As of course, the Clippers infamously passed on him twice in the first round a couple of years ago. And now that was due to the back injuries. But now this guy is showing his worth. He's healthy. And the Nuggets are going to need a big time performance from Porter Jr. to offset Nikola Jokic in this playoff run. Aaron Gordon was acquired midseason from the Orlando Magic. Will he be able to step up and provide some more depth for this Nuggets team under head coach Mike Malone? We'll have to wait and see. The Los Angeles Clippers. Which Clippers team is going to show up? That is the biggest thing that we are dealing with right here. Of course, a lot of people expected the Clippers to get to the NBA Finals last year. Did not happen. We saw them infamously blow that 3-1 series lead in the second round of the playoffs last year as they fell to the Denver Nuggets. And, it's a situation. The Clippers franchise, dating back to their time as the Buffalo Braves, have never made it past the second round of the NBA playoffs. Will this be the year? A new head coach in Tyronn Lue. He knows what it takes to win in this league. Won a championship with the Los Angeles Lakers as a player. Also helped the Cleveland Cavaliers a few years ago. As their head coach. So it's a situation, it's a different voice in the room. Yes, he was an assistant with this club last year, but it's a different voice. But these guys know that the onus is on them. Will this load management that the Clippers have been on the past couple of years hurt them once again? The Clippers have to be guided by their two big stars, Kawhi Leonard and, of course, Paul George. Paul George did not have a good showing for himself in the playoffs last season in the bubble. He is vowed to be better this time around. So you know what? Right now, it's put up or shut up time. The addition of Rajon Rondo at point guard. Will we see, quote unquote, playoff Rondo for the Clippers? That's going to be the big thing. The depth is there and the talent is there. But the bottom line is the Clippers have to be ready on a nightly basis in the postseason in order to get things done if they want to get where they ultimately want to go. The Dallas Mavericks, a big enigma at number 5. You look at the Mavs. This team fell to the Clippers in the first round last year in a tightly contested 6-game series. You look at it, the Mavs are going to once again give the Clippers all that they can handle and then some. You look at Luka Doncic, and of course, Doncic is the best player in the Dallas Mavericks, but you have to ask yourself, will Luka be able to keep his cool? We've seen Luka, get his fair share of technical fouls this season, and that ain't good if you want to do your thing as a championship team, because what you do, or more importantly, what you cannot do well, will always show up at the most inopportune time. And I guarantee you, if Doncic is not able to keep his cool, those technical fouls are going to hinder this Dallas Mavericks team when it hurts the most. You look at the Portland Trail Blazers, and will Dame Time be able to do his thing? I mean, the Blazers, yeah, they got to the Western Conference Finals in 2019, but 3 out of the last 4 years, they've been bumped out in the first round of the postseason. But unlike last year, Portland is entering the postseason healthy. And that's a big thing. You have Damian Lillard, you have CJ McCollum in that backcourt. Then on top of that, you're looking at things. Yusuf Nurkic, he went down with an injury last year, and that really hindered Portland's chances in the first round of the playoffs last year versus the LA Lakers. But you look at this Portland team, and of course they have the veteran Carmelo Anthony coming off of the bench. They're healthier, they're more confident, and they are shooting the ball better this season than they were last season. So that's going to be a very interesting series as they look to clash with the Denver Nuggets in the first round. A Denver Nuggets team who they just beat last night to close out the regular season. Then you look at the teams in the playoff bubble, and I'm going to start with the Los Angeles Lakers, of course. The Lakers are the most intriguing team. They are the defending NBA champions, and the Lakers were cruising earlier this season until the injury bug hit them. First, it was Anthony Davis. Then it was LeBron James. And, the Lakers all of a sudden went from a team that was looking to contend for that top spot in the Western Conference and gradually just slid down and slid down and slid down and slid down. And now all of a sudden, they find themselves in this play-in tournament. And I guarantee you, this is not where the Lakers want to be. But I'll tell you like this is something where it's either going to help or hinder the Lakers being in this play-in tournament. And the reason why I say it is this. Maybe they can find a way to get some cohesion playing a couple of extra games before the quote-unquote postseason starts. But you know what? At the same time, the way things have gone for the Lakers this season, don't be surprised if they're basically a one and done there. They will face the Golden State Warriors in their first game in the play-in tournament. Anything can happen. You just basically throw the rule book out of the window. But I will say this. Yes, the Lakers still have an opportunity to go out there and win the NBA championship and repeat, but their road won't be as easy due to the fact that the West is tougher this year, and the Lakers simply don't have the same depth. You look at it, LeBron and AD have missed a lot of time coming down the stretch. Will that hinder this Laker team? We'll have to wait and see. But I will say this. A lot of these guys, in the absence of LeBron and Anthony Davis, did get more playing time than was expected. So maybe that rhythm will help this team under head coach Frank Vogel. The Golden State Warriors at number 8, I really don't expect, them to really make any waves to be a championship team. It's just the fact, could they, put a scare in somebody like the Lakers in this play-in tournament? You never know, because you never know what you're going to get from Steph Curry as far as a scoring bonanza. This guy can go off for 50 points just like that. And, if that's the case, it could be a long night for whoever the Warriors do have to face in this tournament. Memphis, they're looking to take that next step. This would be big for them. I know that they have a lot of young talent down there with the likes of John Morant and Dylan Brooks, just to name a few. But Memphis, they really are not a championship worthy team right now. Same thing could be said for the San Antonio Spurs. We've seen it's never not really been a rapid decline, more of a steady decline. As the Spurs were, the class of the league for so long, and now they're trying to get back to that slowly but surely. But it's not easy, and I know that this probably is going to be it for DeMar DeRozan. He'll probably leave soon from San Antonio. They just don't have the talent that they once upon a time did. So, this is going to be a quick jaunt in the postseason for the 5-time NBA champions. But you look at this right now, there's so much that you have to ask yourself. The Lakers have to try to go out there and accept this challenge that is ahead of them, because it's going to be a gauntlet. And when I think about what the Lakers have to do, it reminds me so much of the Houston Rockets back in 1995 when they repeated as NBA champions. They came out of that 6th slot out west. They won their first round series. They were down 3-1 in the second round to the Phoenix Suns. And then, they caught fire. They beat San Antonio in the Western Conference Finals in 6 games. And then they swept Orlando after that comeback in game 1 of the NBA Finals, and they never looked back. Maybe the Lakers can catch lightning in a bottle like that. We'll have to wait and see. They definitely have the talent, because, you cannot, go around the fact that LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time. And he does have the ability to put this Laker team on his back once again, even at this stage of his career. I'll tell you like this: it's all about surviving and advancing, because it is so tough right now. You look at this Western Conference because it's so deep, and we've seen it in years past. You go back to the early 2000s when the West was so deep. You had Shaq and Kobe with the Lakers, Duncan with the Spurs, KG with Minnesota, Rasheed Wallace with Portland, Chris Webber with Sacramento, Dirk with Dallas. You still had Karl Malone and John Stockton with the Utah Jazz, and of course, I could keep going down the list. It's once again like that with the West, and I think with this year in the postseason, I really think it's going to be a situation where, it's not about who you play. It's going to be more about who you don't play, because you look at the way that the seedings are set up right now. If the Lakers are really going to, get out of that play-in tournament and be in that 7 slot, they wouldn't have to face the Clippers theoretically to the Western Conference Finals, vice versa. Dallas has what it takes, but can they get past the Clippers? Portland has a good squad, but you know what? They've got to face Denver. Portland will be a problem for Denver. So, if you're Denver, you know what? Wow, what do you do? It's funny because it's so much depth. And because there's so much depth, a lot of people are really not talking about the top 2 teams in the West this season. And of course, that's Utah and Phoenix. And that's just due to the fact that, there are so many good clubs behind them. That's what it comes down to. I look at this right now, and I think more than ever, this postseason in the Western Conference is going to be a crapshoot. We basically know in the East it's going to be Brooklyn or Philly that comes out, barring some type of foreseen injuries to the likes of Kevin Durant or Joel Embiid for their respective clubs. But you look at the West, anything can happen. It really just reminds me of March Madness, whereas sometimes, you'll wake up and see, well, how did this team get to the Final Four? And the reason why they got to the Final Four sometimes is because they really didn't have to play anybody, because other teams got bumped out. And I think this is what's going to happen this season in the Western Conference. So many good teams, and it's just a fact, who's going to step up and make their case. I mean, to me, the onus is on the Clippers. They talked their way into contention last year, and it didn't work out for them. Now, you know what? It's put up or shut up time. Last year, you were blaming Doc Rivers. Doc is no longer there. I know that some people want to give Denver a pass because Jamal Murray's not there, but you know what? They're going to accept the challenge. And, for Utah and Phoenix, both of these clubs, they're the top 2 teams, but especially for Utah, to me, I think they're going to play the underdog role because a lot of people aren't believing in them. If you're Phoenix and Chris Paul, you want to go out there and get it done, because how many more chances legitimately is Chris Paul going to have to get that elusive NBA championship? For Portland and Damian Lillard, can he put this team on his back and get them to the finals? We'll have to wait and see. It's so much stuff. Luka Doncic, like I said before, with the Dallas Mavericks, of course, he has his tag team partner, Kristaps Porzingis. Will they step up and make the necessary moves as well? And then, of course, the purple and gold in LA. if you're LeBron, you definitely want that fifth NBA championship. It's not going to be easy. They really never are, but I think this one is going to be tougher than all of the others if you're LBJ to try to go out there and get this title. So there was a lot on the table this season in the Western Conference Finals, which brings for more excitement when the postseason rolls around. I think it's great for the fans. I think it's great for the league, and I think it's just a matter of us just sitting back in our favorite chairs with our favorite drink and just seeing out who's going to survive in advance and get to the NBA Finals from the West. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for checking this out. And if you like what you see, feel free to like this podcast and also subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. Take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.